This week, we'll be looking at Chapter 9 of The Artist's Way, which is about recovering a sense of compassion, specifically compassion towards ourselves and our own behaviours. This chapter focuses on three themes. We'll talk about being compassionate towards our fear, compassionate towards our relationship with enthusiasm and discipline, and acknowledging our creative U-turns, a type of creative block, and how through compassion we can blast through those creative blocks. This week is also the week that we are tasked with looking back at our morning pages. We are asked to notice, acknowledge, and appreciate the insights and actions that occur. Part 1. Fear. In this chapter, Julia Cameron is describing how we can be more compassionate to what we often call laziness by calling it by its true name. Fear. Blocked artists are not lazy, they are blocked. And the reason that we procrastinate is not because we're lazy, it's not because we don't care about what we're doing, it's simply because we are afraid of doing it or afraid of the outcomes. So being blocked and being lazy are two very different things, and Julia Cameron allows us to distinguish between the two with quite a simple tool. The blocked artist, unlike the lazy person, typically expends a great deal of energy on self-hatred, on regret, on grief, and on jealousy. So the blocked artist spends energy on self-doubt. The blocked artist does not know how to begin with baby steps. Instead, the blocked artist thinks in terms of great big scary impossible tasks, novels, feature films, one-person show, operas, and when these large tasks are not accomplished or even started, the blocked artist calls that laziness. They say, oh, I'm so lazy. So the first step is to acknowledge that what you are calling laziness is fear. So call it fear. You are afraid, not lazy. Julia Cameron suggests to us as well that it's not necessarily just a fear of failure, but also a fear of success. Often it's also a fear of abandonment. And that fear has its roots in our childhood. A lot of the time, artists try to become artists against the wishes of their parents. And for a young person, that's quite a conflict. Because if you're squarely going against what your parents say, with their sort of perceived superior wisdom, you better know what you're doing. You better not just be an artist, but you better be a great artist if you're going to go against or maybe even hurt the feelings of your parents for not becoming a lawyer or doctor or something. However, the problem with that mode of thinking is that the need to be a great artist makes it hard to be an artist. The need to produce a great work of art makes it very hard to produce any art at all. And so we end up doing nothing. Julia Cameron suggests that finding it hard to start a project doesn't necessarily mean that we can't do it, but it may mean that we need some help starting, either from a higher power, a supportive friend network, or a particular friend, and from yourself. You must give yourself permission to begin small and build it up over time. Setting impossible goals creates enormous fear, which creates procrastination, which we call laziness. And calling ourselves lazy just exacerbates the problem. There is only one cure for fear, and that cure is love, especially self-love. Use love for your artist to cure its fear. Stop yelling at yourself. Be nice. Call fear by its right name. Essentially, this comes back to what has been said in previous weeks. Cherishing yourself makes you strong. Now, why a fear of success? Because we can understand a fear of failure, but a fear of success is a little bit harder to grasp. But essentially, we can scurry back into the cave of self-defeat. We're more comfortable being a victim of artist's block than risking having to continually be productive and healthy. So the idea of constantly, once you've had one breakthrough, constantly having to then keep making work, you know, like, yes, you make one good bit of work, you have a success, and then your reputation increases, and no, you can no longer hide. So you're afraid of that. You can no longer hide. Everyone's looking at you to make great work, and you need to keep making it. And that is terrifying for so many artists. You know, it's like we want to be noticed, but at the right time. So we wait on it. We procrastinate. We don't want to be noticed now because, yes, I might be able to make one good bit of work, but what if the second one is terrible and, you know, everyone's expectations of me goes up and they believe in me, and then I make my second piece of work and they all go, okay, it was just a one-off. The person's not really any good. And of course, putting our motivational structure in the appreciation that other people give us is a huge mistake. And that brings us to part 2, enthusiasm. So in part 2 of this chapter, Julia Cameron is saying how we can sometimes fall into a little bit of a trap by being disciplined instead of enthusiastic. Because so many people say things to us like, oh, it must take so much discipline to be an artist. You must be so disciplined, especially in dance, right? It's like, oh, I've heard dancers are so disciplined. You work hard, you train, you guys are seriously on it. We like hearing that. And Julia Cameron says that because we like hearing that, because we like that praise for being disciplined, it makes us kind of fall into a trap of being disciplined in a military and cold way, in a way where actually what we're doing is seeking approval rather than working towards the art that we love. We become more addicted to the process of being disciplined in pursuit of art and being praised for that we lose sight of the art itself. We lose our enthusiasm to actually succeed, to actually make it. Now, Julia Cameron has some very harsh things to say about discipline, and I agree with them, but I would like to differentiate between two types of discipline. There's the discipline that Julia Cameron is talking about. There is a difference between a harsh military kind of discipline and a discipline that is playful. There is also a distinction between discipline for discipline's sake and discipline that is orientated towards a specific purpose, meaning, or goal. So in Julia Cameron's writing, she is saying that in the short run, discipline may work, but it won't work for the long run. By its very nature, it's rooted in self-admiration. We admire ourselves for being so wonderful because everyone else is admiring us for being so wonderful. And as a result, we fall into a trap of being a driven, disciplined automaton functioning from willpower and forcefulness, with pride and ego. We're acting out of self-will and constantly pushing ourselves to work hard. Now, a lot of people, if you're like me, their ears will be burning saying, oh, okay, I agree with what you're saying, but discipline is still very important. I need to turn up on time because my coworkers turn up on time and I don't want to be late. I don't want to keep them waiting. I don't want to waste their time. If we've paid for a certain section of studio time, we want to use it all. I don't just want to turn up in the last hour like, you know what? I was kind of tired this morning and we've just, flushed money, wasted time, haven't been creative as a result. We haven't fulfilled our promises to each other. Equally, there are projects I've seen where not everyone pulls their weight and then one person has to pull double. And being disciplined is also pulling your own weight in a project where many people are relying on each other. You've got to do your part. You can't just let everyone else work and you just sit back and laze around because you're going to create more work for them. I think that is the opposite of compassion towards other people. It's just disrespectful, unkind, rude. But Julia Cameron puts it this way. Instead of thinking that we need to rise at dawn to be, go through this kind of automated, disciplined routine, rise at dawn, strict at 6 a.m. in order to have a play date with your inner artist or fellow artists. Yes, you need to turn up strictly on time, but not from this self-admiring, oh, look at me, I'm so disciplined place. Instead, it comes from you care about playing. So you better make sure you turn up on time to play. When I first read this section, I thought that she was anti-discipline. If I look closely, she is not anti-discipline. She just has a different way of defining the terms. The example she gives is that, true, our artist may rise at dawn to greet the typewriter or easel in the morning stillness, but this event has more to do with a child's love of secret adventure than with ironclad discipline. What other people may view as discipline is actually a play date that we make with our artist child. So discipline is important when motivation wanes. You keep the goal in mind, regardless of how you feel today. It's like the difference between climate and weather. It can be summer, where it's sunny all the time, but every now and then you'll get one rainy day. So we want to make sure that our climate is enthusiastic and that when the weather changes, our mood can dip, but we come back to that seasonal climate of positivity. Consistent practice toward a goal always trumps one perfect practice. Only running when the sun shines in England means you'll never be running. So this lines up with what Cameron is saying about quantity versus quality. So the promise that she wants us to make to art is that I, as the artist, control the quantity. The sort of higher powers of art control the quality. Now, this makes me think of a photography experiment. They split a class of photography students in two, and they told half of the class to take one high quality picture, the best picture they've ever taken, one perfect photograph. The other half was told to take as many pictures as they could. So that's a direct comparison between one group that is seeking quality and one group that is seeking quantity. Then they gathered all of these pictures up and they gave them to a panel of judges. All, and that's without exception, all of the best pictures that were chosen came from the quantity group, not the quality group. The ones that were committed to taking many, many pictures had many, many good pictures. And some of those pictures were amazing. The ones that only took one picture, seeking for the best picture they could find in only one take, they did not even compete. So it is a very good experiment to remember when you're feeling blocked by, I need to do this really well. I need to do this at a really high quality. No, you need to turn up every day. That's your job. High quality will come out of high quantity commitment. Thank you for watching and listening. If you got this far in the video, I hope you enjoyed and will consider leaving a like and subscribing to keep up to date with new releases. Next week, we will be looking at recovering a sense of self-protection. See you there. Peace out.